Okay, this is Hideous Z. We're doing a replay analysis looking at Ashe ADC. And this is in Silver 3. Okay, so you have a lot of kiting and utility in your duo between Janna and Ashe. You bring just a lot of utility to the lane, and Ashe does bring a fair amount of damage as well. But between Thresh and Vayne, they have a lot more hard engage, and so it's kind of a hard engage versus a disengage duo. So if Janna is on point with her tornadoes, then she can disrupt Thresh engaging every time. Like if Thresh lands a hook, then she can tornado when he tries to go in on it and knock him up. Okay, there's a pretty major positioning mistake. So let's look at this here. Okay, so right now we're on the rush to level 2. This is pretty important that you guys get level 2 first. It gives you a big boost in your utility, and it avoids the Thresh level 2, which is pretty strong if he gets Flay and Hook, and then Vayne can get Tumble and Silver Bolt. So you want to make sure you get level 2 before they do, and you get level 2 at 9 minions. Or 10 if it's all the casters of the second wave. So one more for you, and then they hit level 2. Okay, so they hit level 2 and they immediately go aggressive. Which, if you gotta be keeping an eye on the minion numbers because this is pretty predictable. If they hit level 2, they are likely going to go aggressive if they know what they're doing. Janna starting with shield is pretty normal, but that means she doesn't have her knock-up available yet, so there's no disengage. So if they're going to hit level 2 before you, you need to start disengaging before that happens. So if you see that they're killing minions faster than you can and it's going to tick to level 2 while you're still level 1, you need to start disengaging way before this. So let's just slow this down and watch this here. Okay, so you're attacking Ashe. This is fine right now. You have minions in front of you, so Thresh can't CC you very hard yet. So you're kiting back, but then you walk this way. Why do you walk back that way? Let's look at this again. Here we go. So here we go. We got the situation right now. This is the second wave of minions that's hit the lane. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they have these 2 to get level 2. And they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you have to kill all these 3 to hit level 2. So already you can sense that you're probably not going to win this race unless something really strange happens. So you need to already start, be thinking very defensive. And I'm not going to over-commit. I'm not going to over-engage. I'm going to position very intelligently so that when they hit level 2, they can't take advantage of it. So here we go. You're probably not thinking about that though. It doesn't look like it because Vayne's about to ding to level 2 after this and you're not even close yet. You still have 2 minions to go. Bam, there they go, and they immediately go forward. Now if they were really smart, Thresh would have positioned like over here so that he could immediately look to hook you. So they don't really play this nearly as effectively as they could, but it's already going to be pretty effective. So right now you're okay. Vayne can hit you, but Thresh can't hook you because you have these 3 minions in the way. So you're safe right now. So what you need to do is auto attack Ashe and back off this way to continue being using these minions as a shield between you and Thresh. You back off this way, you maintain distance between you and Thresh while dissuading Ashe or Vayne from attacking you with auto attacks, and then and then look to dodge the hook if necessary. But then you walk this way. Why do you walk this way? This kills you. You're either gonna have to burn flash or do something here to get out of this. I think, because when you walk right into Thresh, and now you're in attack range of both of them. You have a longer auto attack range than Vayne does. So in theory, you should be able to position yourself such that you can auto attack her, but she can't auto attack you. So for you to actually walk closer to her is just madness. You don't need to do that. And if she backs off, then great. You were going to lose this trade anyway because they have a level advantage. So you want to back off and make sure that they don't win this super hard. So you walk forward for some reason. Maybe it was a misclick. Who knows? Could have been a misclick. If that's the case, then that's a good argument for using attack move. You attack Ashe. Thresh flays you that way for some reason. That also saves your life. And then whiffs the hook. Okay. So you survive, but you had no business surviving. If Thresh flays you correctly back that way, and then positions better so he doesn't hook a minion instead of hooking you, you're dead. There's nothing that gets you out of that. So you got to be really careful when you're kiting back. Use attack move, hit A and click on Vayne. That way if you miss, it'll still likely attack Vayne. If you misclick, because the way auto attack or attack move works, even if you like click like next to her, since she's the closest target, it'll still attack Vayne. Or if you like really miss, instead of just like right clicking, and so if you right click just a little bit wrong, if you right click like this, then you're gonna walk this way. If you attack move and you click wrong and it doesn't just register that you want to attack Vayne, instead you'll attack these minions. So yeah, it's not what you want to attack, but at least you're not walking into them. So in that situation, using attack move can be pretty clutch. Okay, let's speed back up here. So because Thresh messes up massively, you get out of, without losing too much health. Don't use Tornado like that. That's a gigantic waste. Tornado is a massively important spell. It is a gigantic knock-up, it is a gigantic disengage, it is a engage in some cases. Do not use it just to use it. Hold on to that sucker, because you need it if Thresh goes ham. Or you need it when you see Vayne moving out of position, and you can capitalize so much harder if you land a good knock-up. Don't just use it because you have it. Hold on to it until it's going to be really effective. Janna could be being a lot more effective here by just auto-attacking. You have a ranged auto-attack. Vayne is distracted with CSing. Thresh's auto-attack range I think is shorter than Janna's, or it's like about the same. So you can do a lot of damage just by auto-attacking. See, like, even if this lands, it's going to hit Vayne, but what are you going to do? Like, what does this gain you? It's kind of annoying. But what is really going to happen here? Oh, it doesn't even hit Vayne. Like, even if it did, though, like, what was the follow-up going to be? Ashe is busy CSing. She's not in a position to follow up on a tornado that's that far out. It doesn't do enough damage to justify just throwing it out there on its own. It's a utility spell. It's a knock-up. You gotta save it until it's going to be really effective. See, if you could use it now, potentially, you could hold on, you could sit right here and wait till Vayne comes and CS's and then double tap the tornado so that it knocks her up, and then Vayne or Ashe follows up and you get her super low, maybe force her flash or heal. Okay, rewarding. Being really careful when you're that close to turret because Thresh loves that. Okay. Good, that's good. You need to be harassing with those auto attacks. Janna does, that's really solid. Gotta hit those. Gotta hit those. You're missing a little CS. A lot of little CS that you could be hitting. 3 in a row. Good. You're harassing pretty effectively though, so that's good. They're calling for help. You see that? That's what'll happen. They'll start spamming help for calling for help for their jungler. So you gotta be aware of that too. When you are winning a lane hard like this and providing good pressure, you have a bullseye that's on your back that's growing bigger and bigger as time goes on because they're spamming help me, help me, help me, help me. And you're pushed, so the jungler is thinking, oh, they are pushed. This could be a really good gank. So you had Hecarim with you, but he's not there anymore. So you got to be really careful, because Xin, as it turns out, is really low health, but you don't know that. Okay, as long as you can keep this warded, and as long as you have lane pressure like this, you can go ahead and stay in lane. Sometimes it's pretty risky to do that, because if you know, in the opposite kind of scenario where Vayne and Thresh are really low like this, they probably want to be looking for the first opportunity they can to go back, because they want an item so that they can start actually not having to respect you so much. But you can be positioning, yeah, see, there's no reason for you to be pushed back this far. Look at these guys, they're so low. Like, you have a minion here to linebacker, to block for a Thresh hook for you. You have Janna, who should be positioning up in here aggressively, so that she can use a knock-up if Thresh looks like he's gonna go in. These guys are within kill pressure. This is potentially a kill on Thresh here, but you guys are positioned so far back. Well, you don't need to respect them like this. You're winning. So Janna needs to be positioning up here to be aggressive and zoning. So if they do decide to come in, hopefully they don't come in at all, and you can just zone them out of CS for as long as possible. But if they do decide to come in, then she can use her utility and a knock-up, and you're positioned here or here, so that you can immediately follow up on it. But because you guys are playing far back enough, that Vayne is able to come up and CS even when she has no business being able to do that. You don't want to over-aggress. You don't want to get to a point where Thresh can land a solid hook and turn the lane right back around. But you had the minions there, and you had the ability to be spread out enough. And Janna can be looking to be positioning super aggressively that was unlikely to happen. So overall, you guys are pressuring him pretty good, but you could be pressuring him significantly harder. Okay, this is a situation where this is a mistake now. Or potentially it is. Right now you can see Xin Zhao. So you're okay. Because you have eyes on him, and you know Vlad is dead. So you can see everyone else on the map, every enemy member. Talon's here, Xin Zhao is here, Vlad is dead. So you guys can be aggressive like this. But you had better have checked that and to make sure that that was the case before you came up like this. Because if not, if you don't know where Xin Zhao is, if you didn't look, or in another situation, another game, where you don't have the eyes on Xin Zhao, this is where you get ganked and throw the lead. Because Xin is waiting for you to go up this far. You don't have any mana, you're under the turret. These guys are low, but they have enough health and abilities to make something happen under a turret. So if Xin Zhao comes in here, potentially you guys are in a lot of trouble because you don't have a ward here. And there's no reason to be here. You don't really want to take the turret right now. You're not going to be able to get meaningful damage on it anyway. There's nothing to CS. You can't kill them. If you had your ult, maybe you could, but you don't have a blitzcrank. You don't have somebody that can actually go under turret and lock them up long enough and soak up the damage so that you can get a kill. They're playing too safe for that, and you don't have a grab or anything else like that. So there's no reason for you to be up this far. And the only reason that it's okay right now is because you know where everybody is. And even then, honestly, it's risky, because if Thresh lands a good hook here, you guys could potentially be in trouble. Okay, now Xin is not in vision, Talon is recalling, and you don't have eyes on Vlad. So Vlad is likely going to top. You shouldn't need to worry too much about him. That would be really weird if he came down bot. But Xin sure could be coming down. And Talon might lane gank. So you got to start thinking about that. And you should have gone back last wave anyway, because you have enough for a BF sword and a couple of potions. So now you really need to go back. The longer you stay here, you're just asking for trouble. You're asking to get ganked. So this just ends up being really risky. And you don't really have kill pressure on them because, okay, good. This is good. But yeah, see, here he comes. So fortunately. Oh no, still go back though. Dude, he's still there. Why are you putting yourself forward? He's still there. There's no reason to stay up here. You don't have kill pressure. You don't even really have a lot of zoning pressure anymore. They've had a chance to regen up enough that you don't have any kind of pressure at all. You needed to go back before this. Okay, now you have Hecarim, so now that changes things a little bit. Nice arrow. Oh, not quite. That's of course the problem with that, is that Thresh has a lantern, so. So that was pretty close. If Hecarim had been maybe a little bit more on point, you guys probably could have cleaned that up. Okay, so you're going to grab A BF sword. And because Janna got a Sightstone, it's okay that you didn't get a ward. But in general, it is still a good idea if you are buying wards. At least one. But because Janna got her Sightstone and a pink, that's okay. She's got enough vision to cover the map to cover the lane for now. Okay, so let's look at the situation now. Vayne has her Cutlass, which is not a major power spike, but it's you know, so right now you have damage for damage, you have her beat. But because of the way Vayne works, if she's able to actually close with you and duel with you and go auto attack for auto attack, she'll still probably win. So you still got to respect that. Thresh opted for what? Okay, I just noticed that Thresh has Smite, so that's pretty bizarre. So he's going for a Skirmisher's Saber, which is pretty weird. He's probably trying to do cheesy Smite hooks like Blitzcrank can sometimes do. He's got a Skirmisher's Saber because he wants to be able to cast it on you, which will slow you. Well, it does. I don't know if this challenging smite makes Vayne's auto attacks do true damage. Maybe it does. That would make sense if it does, but I think the slowing smite would be better. Anyway, so that's kind of weird, but just be aware of it. You need to consistently be positioning yourself so that you are not an easy hook. Janna needs to be aware of Thresh looking to hook and having tornadoes ready off of cooldown so that she can knock him up if he tries to go in. You both have your ults now, so yours is on cooldown, obviously. But so does Vayne and Thresh, so this is scary. They have a much better all-in. If you guys can poke and disengage and do damage, then you're okay. But if they actually are able to lock you up and get in close quarters, they will win. That was a panic tornado. It was not necessary. Yes, you know, I think you're dead here. The exhaust, oh, the exhaust saves you. Tornado. Okay. Why would you teleport in now? Dude, come on. Okay, I just want to watch this again because I want to see how this went down. Okay, so that's kind of a panic tornado, and then you misposition here. You're too aggressive here. Thresh is in perfect position to hook, and you are right out in the open. So, and to dodge it, you run backwards, which you should always run to one side or the other, because when you have, you're not like up against a wall where he only has to guess one way. He has to guess which way you're going to juke. And he doesn't guess which way you're going to juke, he just throws it right where you're at. So if you dodged either direction, you would have been fine. So he does land the hook on you, goes in, Vayne immediately ults, he comes in, casts his flay, he should have... Yeah, he should have ulted and then flayed you into a wall. But the whole time you're able to get damage on Vayne, and Janna lands a really good exhaust, so that's pretty clutch. Vayne, for some reason, comes all the way over here, instead of just doing damage to you. I don't know why she didn't just come straight towards you and do damage. She wastes a lot of time. She's gotten 2 auto attacks in the time that you've gotten like 4 or 5. Okay, so then you do make a mistake there. So you made a mistake positioning here, and you made another mistake positioning here. You guys need to throw a ward in this brush and then not do this. You cannot walk toward a wall. You put yourself between a wall and Vayne. Vayne was an easy tumble away from landing a stun on you, and it almost kills you. So that's a mistake. But you do manage to kill Vayne, so that's solid. And then Thresh messes up again and hooks a minion, and you kill him. Or Janna kills him, I guess. So you played that pretty well. Janna played that pretty well in particular. But more, I think the biggest factor, honestly, was that Vayne really misplayed it. She should have been DPSing you the entire time. Thresh doesn't have exhaust, he has smite. So I don't even think he used it. So that would have probably changed things a bit too. But the fact that you have exhaust and they don't is a pretty big advantage. And then Vlad teleports in and you respond appropriately. I have no idea why Pantheon teleports in. It was so late, there was just no way this is... Oh, what? No, what? What? Yeah, now you're dead. I think. Unless she gets a shield on you. She does. Okay, you healed. Or something. What did you do? Oh, you got dangerous game. That's why. Dangerous game saved you, because Janna's shield was late. Okay, so that's a miracle that Pantheon teleport actually worked out. Flash Janna knock up, that was pretty good. If Vlad had just run back toward his turret, he would have been fine, but... Okay, pretty risky to stay, riskier to go any further than this, because you don't know where Xin is. So good. Okay. Staying that long in the first place was maybe not optimal, unless you really needed the gold to hit a certain item spike, which I don't think you really did. Because now Vayne is going to have all this free time in lane. You weren't able to actually push it into her turret anyway, and now you're recalling when Vayne is returning, and so now she has all this time in lane, when if you'd recalled before, she would have had to come out here to CS, and you would have been arriving just a few seconds after her. Okay, you got a pickaxe. You still had all your potions. So that would have been a great time to grab a ward. Dragon's going to become a thing pretty quick here, and the more wards, the better. Okay, let's look at that. Oops. Okay, so you gotta look at the items. Vayne still has Cutlass, she doesn't get anything. Thresh, same thing, their item hasn't really changed. You have more items, so you should be in a really good position here to win this next fight. So let's see what happens. I'm guessing it's because Vayne actually auto-attacks you and Janna doesn't have exhaust right now. Okay, going aggressive right now is really dumb. You have no minions to protect you. They have all these minions. This is all you're going to be taking aggro from all of these, which at this point is not massive damage relative to your health pool, but it's still significant because these are all casters and they're all here. Plus, you don't have anything to protect you from Thresh hooks. They don't have to maneuver around anything to go straight for you. So just because Janna landed a knockup doesn't mean it was a good idea to go forward, because now you're an easy Thresh hook. You're up against a wall. Vayne is actually DPSing you. You misclick on a minion. That was pretty bad. You misclick on a minion. Vayne tumbles around, gets the stun under the wall, which kills you. And then she chases Janna down. She should be able to survive, actually. Double tap tornado. Double tap tornado. Double tap tornado. Double tap tornado! There we go. So you misclick on a minion. You were too aggressive in the first place without any minion coverage or any way to block a Thresh hook. And then when you did get into it, you auto-attacked a minion at least one time, which made I mean, Vayne was already doing pretty well, so she probably was going to live anyway. But you guys didn't have any summoners. I think your ult was still on cooldown. If it wasn't, I'm not sure why you didn't use it. Why were both of your ults off of cooldown? No, they weren't. Yours comes up right now, but maybe you don't realize it. So you auto-attack Vayne there, do a fair amount of damage, and that's where you miss the minion. And that actually might have turned it around, because you were still doing pretty well right then. If you had done enough damage to her there, and then ulted her, you win this trade. Thresh Lantern, you miss. Thresh does damage to you. All these minions are pounding you. So yeah, going in there was really risky. You still could have won it if you'd played your abilities right, but you shouldn't have initiated that trade in the first place. It was way too risky. You had a lead, not a giant lead, but you have a lead in this lane, or you had one. You had a kill plus a CS lead, and you chose to take a really risky engage, flipped a coin, and now your lead is a lot smaller. Okay, I'm gonna kind of blitz through a little bit of this. Your CS right now is okay. It could be better. There's definitely, because you guys have been trading enough and because you died that last time, you missed out on some. But it could be better. At 14 minutes or 13 and a half minutes, you probably want to be pushing maybe 110 or 115. So about 20 more than you have right now. And that's significant. That's like a kill and a half. That's a kill and an assist worth the gold. So you would be you'd be about 1,000 gold ahead of Vayne instead of just 500 gold ahead of Vayne. So that's a big deal. Just to upping your CS. That's a that's potentially that's boots, or that's that's another item that you can't buy your trinket upgrade yet, but that's finishing your Infinity Edge significantly before she finishes Blade of the Ruined King. Potentially. So Vayne misplayed that. You landed a good ult, Janna landed a good ult, and Thresh Lantern saves her. In a lane like this, it's almost always better to try to kill Thresh, unless you have a specific plan for interrupting Thresh Lantern. If Janna can land a really clutch tornado, she can interrupt the Thresh Lantern. If she can land it right after Vayne clicks it and knock her up like while she's traveling to Thresh, then that'll interrupt it and stop her. But Thresh can't Lantern himself, and so he's almost always going to be the better target to start things with, if you can. So unless you can get a situation where you can really either burst Vayne down before she can grab the lantern, or you have some method for preventing her from taking the lantern, you should go aggressive on him. He's so out of position. Okay, speeding up. Okay, you got boots. No. Well. Okay, I think I see what you're doing. I imagine you're probably getting this so that you can see Vayne when she's dueling you. If you're able to pull that off, that could be pretty clutch. So I can see the logic behind that. If you can trust Janna to keep your lane, to keep the wards up and make up for your lack of a yellow trinket, then I can see that. Okay, well let's just see how that plays out for you. Okay, yeah, focus on wave clear, good. Being that far up is just really dangerous. I don't think you even need. I don't think there's any real reason for you to be up that far. So when it's a 2v1 like that, the second they realize it's a 2v1, they're going to go aggressive on you. And even if they don't kill you, doing that much damage to you at half health, that mitigates any sort of item advantage or gold advantage or any level advantage or whatever that you have. If you're starting at half health at a trade where Vayne has full health, she could be 2 levels behind you and a full item behind, and she could still win that trade because you are at half health. She only has to burn down 50%, you have to burn down 100%. So you got to be really careful about this. Is 1 or 2 CS really worth losing half your health? So you get that, you're fine here, but as soon as, like, that's where you make a mistake. That's too aggressive. That's too dangerous. Vayne is walking forward, and you lose half your health to 3 auto attacks. Because she has Blade of the Ruined King now. If Thresh had landed a hook, or a flay, or if she landed Blade of the Ruined King, which would have slowed you down, and then Thresh could have flayed you, you could have really easily died there. Like, super easily. They did not punish that positioning mistake that you made nearly as hard as they could have. So, you got to be really careful about that. Okay, good. You landed the arrow, and then Hecarim came in. That was really good timing on the arrow. Nicely done. And you kill her before she could take the lantern out, and Thresh wasn't in position to like save her anyway, even if she had taken the lantern. Now it is a good time to pressure that turret down. Dragon's coming up in a couple of minutes, so now is a time when you want to start thinking about getting vision set up for it. Maybe not quite yet, but in the next few, like 45 seconds or so. This is really dangerous at this point. Or maybe it's just pointless. You could have cleared the vision, and instead you kind of chased him. Like, I don't know what you thought was going to happen. Or not you. I don't know what Hecarim and Janna thought was going to happen there. Like, you chased him out. Good job, I guess. Now they still have vision control of blue. On the other hand, you could have, like, forced him to come and try to interrupt blue from you, and you could have made him fight on your terms. Chasing him just wasn't a great idea there. You kind of gave up the advantage you created. Again, not you, sorry, just your team. Okay, so your team is doing well enough right now that, yeah, you can afford to kind of just play, you can afford to play safe. You don't have to make any super risky plays to try to turn a tailspin into a victory. You know, you can just play smart, you can play safe, you can farm up. You don't need to be leaving waves behind, like what you're not doing. You're doing fine right now. So you can kind of sit back and let yourself get carried a bit until you hit your late game power spike. You guys are picking up Dragon, which is good. Do not abandon Dragon for a random kill. Moving over here is fine, but make sure you're still DPSing the Dragon. Good. And now... So now to start pressuring mid, you guys need to make sure you have vision set up, and you do. This is really good. Janna's done a good job. Her Sightstone is empty. That is the most beautiful sight in the world. So you guys have good vision control of this area set up, which means you can pressure mid without worrying about getting flanked or murdered. Plus you know that... Oh, you don't know that, but Talon went back. Hecarim just got killed. So this is starting to become dangerous. So you can back out here now. Now that they're grouping up, now it's time to leave, because now it's a 4v5 on their side of the map. So good. Okay. So right now, one thing you can be doing, because you guys are trying to pressure mid, which is fine. You can pressure that objective. But right now your lanes are not really set up to help you. This lane is pushing, so this one's fine. But this one is pushing towards your turret. So you have this big minion wave here, which has kind of put a timer on how long you guys can all stay grouped up mid. And eventually someone is going to go have to deal with this, or it's going to push the turret. So eventually Mordekaiser has to come down and push this. So instead, what you can do is, you know, before you start grouping mid to start pressuring this, or after that initial thing, after you get Dragon, you kind of moved in, that's fine. Or even that, actually, after you took Dragon, a good move would have been to come down here and get this pushing this way. Just give it a nudge so that instead of pushing toward your turret, it's slow pushing toward their turret. And then the timer is on them, not on you. Then eventually this is going to build up, you know, if you've killed enough minions so that this is slow pushing. So if like in this example, if you were right here right now, if you killed all these minions and left your 3 minions alive, now your minions have a 3 minion advantage. So these guys are going to walk up here, and this wave is going to hit them right about here. And then your minion wave is going to catch up, and it's going to be like 8v6. And the 8v6 is going to win. There's going to be 3 or 4 minions left probably in your wave. It'll come, it'll hit the next wave about here, then your reinforcement wave hits, and then, you know, then it's 9v5 by the time those collect. And then that wins even harder. And so eventually, you know, it slow pushes. It builds up and it stacks up, and eventually it hits this turret. And so it's building and building and building and building, and eventually one of them is going to have to go deal with it. So as you're pressuring mid, that's what's happening up here. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minions pressuring 5. So these are going to win. This wave is going to catch up. They're going to obliterate this wave. And within the next minute or so, 60 seconds, 45, 60 seconds, it's going to be pressuring this turret. One of these guys is going to say, oh my gosh, I want to go farm that wave. There's a big wave top. I'm going to go clear it. The turret isn't in danger because it's too early in the game and it is full health. But they're going to want to go farm the wave because they want the gold. So one of them's going to leave, and without any of you doing anything other than setting the wave up a little while ago, you've created a split push type of situation where one of them is going to go top, and now you've got a 4v5 in mid. If you can do it in both lanes, then potentially you end up with a 5v3 in mid, because they send one person top and one person bot, and now you've got a 5v3 in mid, and that's a free turret. Especially if you've got your wards up correctly, so in case they collapse back on you. Right now, you've got a situation where maybe Vlad goes top to deal with this, and Mordekaiser goes back to bot to deal with this, and you've got a 4v4, and there's no real advantage gained. So you want to make sure that you're setting up the map to work for you, to pressure the lanes for you, so that you, so that as you're pressuring a different objective, it's kind of similar to having somebody split pushing. You've got a ticking time bomb up in another lane that eventually they're going to have to go deal with. And as soon as they do, you can pounce. Gianna gets caught, that really sucks. And you guys lose this really hard. So because they dove so hard, you guys managed to pick up a couple in response. And Mordekaiser here might be able to pick this up, but they have wards, so they back off. So you guys just need to play this more conservatively. There's no reason to play it up so far. Vayne was really short range. They weren't going to take the turret. Just play it back, clear the waves. No reason to be up front like that. Hookable. You know, until Mordekaiser starts making his way back, and then you can look to maybe go aggressive. Okay, so again, you're trying to pressure this. Your bot lane is set up pretty well. This will be able to survive long enough so that this wave can catch up and push into the turret, so that's good. This wave, though, is not. This turret isn't up, so even though this wave is building, it's not going to actually be pressuring an objective that you have to go deal with until a little bit later. But there, you do have a ticking time bomb up here, so eventually you can't just indefinitely push mid because your lanes aren't working for you, they're working against you, or this one is. This one's working for you. And this is the one you really want to be working for you because of Baron. Like, you want to be able to pressure this there, and then go take mid, and then rotate, or take this, and then maybe rotate top, or rotate to Baron. You don't want to have to worry about all the minions that you're missing out on down here. Okay, so these guys are positioned. Oh, Pantheon has his ult, I guess. So Pantheon could ult at any time here, and you guys would win the fight, pretty much. All their stuff is on cooldown. So he should have ulted a while ago, actually. I'm not sure what he's waiting for. There we go. Okay, you take out Talon, solid. The Vladimir ult isn't going to be that big of a deal. You guys pick up a couple of kills. Good. So now you can go back and bring the wave up and take the turret. Because you're not going to randomly chase kills. Mordekaiser isn't using his ghost for some reason. He's still doing a lot of damage, but... There you go. Okay, good. So overall, that's really good. But now you got to go, instead of being able to deal with this, the death timers are so low that you can't afford to go do anything else now. You have to go deal with your lanes. I was wrong about this one. I miscalculated. This one ends up pushing back towards you, or maybe one of them came and pushed it. I didn't see. The cannon may have messed it up. Okay, so now you're resetting the lanes. You're pushing. You're getting it going. So in this situation, kill all but like one of them, so that by the time this reinforcement wave catches up, these three will still be here, and then you've got a 9 minion wave pushing into a 6 minion wave. That's why you set up a slow push. So I would like to see, yeah, you kill all but one of these casters. But of course, since you can't hear me right now, you kill all of them. It's still going to set up a slow push, it just won't set it up quite as favorably. And Vayne's going to be here to clear it out anyway, so... Okay, so since Vayne is here, you sent an arrow down mid. I didn't see who it hit, but your team was able to capitalize, so that's good. And I don't know what Talon is thinking is going to happen there, but he's toast now. So Vayne is pushing bot, so you guys need to take something. You either need to get Baron, that would actually be a good call right now, or take middle, the middle turret. Oh, and Pantheon went bot, which is... That's okay. As long as you... Yeah, that's okay. He doesn't even need to kill her. As long as he saves the turret, he's fine. Yeah, and you guys get a free Baron. Good. Nice. Nicely done. Good call. You could rotate to Dragon now. And this is not worth it. Not worth it. You don't know where Vladimir is. Dude, if somebody fight... You are not strong enough to fight somebody one-on-one right now. This is so dangerous. You know where Vladimir is, but you don't... I mean, what if... You just don't have enough information to make this call. This is so dangerous. And it's not a good use of your time either. This is an important objective. Red buff is nice, but it's not going to win you the game. This is where you want to be. Go with your team. Because you're putting yourself in a position where it'd be really easy to pick you off, and you're putting your team in a position where they don't have their source of constant DPS to protect them while they're doing Dragon. So if they get collapsed on, they're going to be in trouble. So again, it's kind of those things that because you're so ahead right now, you can afford to do things like that a little bit and not get punished for them, but that doesn't make them the right move. Nice arrow. Good. Okay, now you guys have a numbers advantage, you have Baron, you have a nice Dragon advantage, so you're able to siege this down. Your entire job in sieges like that is taking out the turret. So you are not looking to harass, you're not looking to do anything other than DPSing the turret, pretty much. If they go aggressive and try to fight you, then yeah, switch up, but in general, you're the one that has the turret pushing power. You're the AD carry. That's your big job. Okay, and you rotate bot immediately. That's really good. Okay, you got a big wave developing top, so that's going to have to be dealt with eventually, but you guys are on a steam train right now, so it doesn't even matter. You land a good arrow, you kill them, that's an ace, or almost an ace. Because I don't know what Xin Zhao is doing, and you guys win the game. Okay, cool. So overall, you played this pretty well. There's definitely some like little things in lane that you could have done better. I would like to see your CS at a much better place for this point in the game, given how well you guys were doing. At 30 minutes, I just saw in the C9 versus CLG game, Incarnation in mid had 220 something CS at 20 minutes. So given that you guys are winning and that game is actually pretty even, you shouldn't have any trouble getting 250 CS by 30 minutes. That's a pretty realistic goal. So this number needs to be up by this point in the game, given how well it's going. So your CS at 10 could be better. I think I pointed that out already. And focus on that, especially your CS by 10. Your CS by the end of the game is really variable, depends on a lot of things, but given how this game went, it should be a lot better. I pointed out a few things between you and Janna and Lane that could have been done better, but overall you guys played it pretty well. Thresh was terrible, which was a big part of it, and Vayne honestly wasn't that great either, so they weren't very good, which really helped. And then your team won their lanes, which also makes life significantly easier. So yeah, like you said when you sent this game to me, pretty easy win, but there's definitely things you could have done better. I pointed out a few things about where you should have been on the map and how to pressure lanes a little bit better, so that you're setting yourself up for a good pressure in mid lane, or you could pressure, set the pushes up in mid and bot and pressure top. It doesn't matter. As long as you've got pressure in all three lanes, the enemy team can't devote their focus to you exclusively, which means they may have to make a choice. And when teams have to make a choice, they often make the wrong choice, and then you can capitalize. So thankfully you guys were far enough ahead that you were able to coming out of lane phase, that you were able to win anyway, or your other lanes you were pretty even coming out of lane overall. But you got with your team and you grouped up and you guys won. So well done overall. Cool. Thanks for a chance to look at this game. I hope some of that was helpful, and I look forward to seeing another game of yours sometime down the road. Best of luck.